Hello, everyone. The topic that we're gonna present is about blockchains. At the very beginning, we will introduce a little bit about blockchains, like how does blockchain work and what properties that make blockchain so unique and popular. Then we will dive deeper into blockchains, exploring and analyzing it with respect to security and scalability. Blockchains are incredibly popular nowadays. A blockchain is a shared, immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network. It is completely open to anyone. Asset can be anything. They can be either tangible or intangible. So how does blockchain work? As each transaction occurs, it is recorded as a block of data, which contains information like who, what, when, where, and how much. A validated block will be added into the chain. Finally, the verified blocks form a chain of data with the ones before it and after it. Once this block has been added in the blockchain, it becomes very difficult to modify. Therefore, it is known as an efficient way to prevent the sensitive data from being tampered by the attackers. A key part is to choose a block and add it to the chain. This process is called consensus protocol. It creates trust in the data, which is a property that makes blockchain unique. The focus of our presentation is to compare the two most popular consensus models, proof of work and proof of stake in regarding to security and scalability. Now, we will move on to security aspect of blockchains.
For security, we are mainly going to discuss the integrity of blockchain, because that is the part guaranteed by the consensus mechanism. To discuss the integrity of a blockchain, we first need to know that a blockchain is chained together by hash pointers. That is, every block contains the hash value of the previous block. As we've studied this semester, a hash function is a one-way function, meaning that the hash pointer will uniquely point to the previous block. However, in this setup, everyone can add a block to the blockchain easily. Since a hash function is easy to compute, anyone can just calculate the hash of the final block, attach some data, and claim that to be a new block in the blockchain. This is where a consensus mechanism comes in. For proof of work, one has to ensure some property in the hash of the new block so that it is valid, like having the leading X number of bits being 0. Since the hash function is secure, the only way to obtain such a hash is to modify the block so that there is a nonce part in the block for one to keep modifying and trying the hash. And when the number of valid hashes is much smaller than the number of all possible hashes, finding such a hash becomes extremely computationally expensive. For example, in Bitcoin, the hash function used is SHA-256, and for the current difficulty, a valid hash needs to have more than 70 leading zeros in binary. The inclusion of the previous hash in a block also ensures that no one can pre-compute the future blocks before everyone else. For proof of stake, in order to create a new block, one has to own some currency in the system and put it aside, called staking. Based on how much each user is staking, there is an agreed algorithm to select the user who is allowed to create the next block for the blockchain using deterministic randomness. This evades a lot of hassles appear in proof of work. Talking about the integrity of blockchains, I can't really get away without talking about the famous 51% attack. This attack has various consequences, but we are going to focus on the difficulty of initiating the attack. In proof of work, a party needs to have 51% of the computational power in the network. This is not impossible, especially in blockchains with less users. On the other hand, a party needs to have 51% of the staked coin in a network with the proof of stake protocol. And even if someone's got the coin, having this much coin in the network is likely to discourage them from performing the attack, because an attack would likely crash the value of the coin in the network. For the next part, we will talk about scalability in blockchain.
To discuss blockchain scalability, first we need to talk about the term scalability. Scalability determines the network's capacity, including the number of network nodes, the amount of transactions the network can handle, how quickly the network can handle the transactions, and so on. It is sometimes confusing because Bitcoin's blockchain is scalable, since new participants can join the network at any time and add computational power to the network. To further discuss blockchain scalability, first, we would like to mention the energy consumption. We often think of mining when we talk about blockchain scalability. The energy consumption of mining cryptocurrencies is very high, which is not environmentally friendly. For example, the annual power consumption of mining Bitcoin is almost the same as the power consumption of Norway. However, blockchain scalability mainly refers to transaction speed. In order to scale, blockchains should handle more transactions when there is more resources added to the network. But the reality is not the case. According to the chart, Bitcoin network can only handle 3 to 8 transactions per second. Ethereum network can handle 10 to 20 transactions per second. While PayPal can process 200 transactions per second, the Visa can process up to 2,500 transactions per second. Comparing to PayPal and Visa, it is apparently not enough for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum to have real-life usage. Another issue is the confirmation time. Bitcoin average confirmation time is around 7 minutes. In order to ensure that the block is not reversible, we need to wait for 6 confirmations, which could take 1 hour. People won't wait for 60 minutes to confirm that a purchase of a coffee is valid. To solve the scalability problem, blockchain community proposed several methods in consider of reducing energy consumption, increasing throughput of the system. We will compare proof of work and proof of stake for scalability in this section. Proof of stake protocols are proposed to avoid the massive energy consumption of proof of work schemes. Proof of stake protocols are a class of consensus mechanisms for blockchains that work by selecting validators in proportion to their quantity of holdings in the associated cryptocurrency. As some of you may know, Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, has moved from proof of work to proof of stake in September, which significantly dropped the network's power consumption by 99%. Proof of stake is more scalable than proof of work since it is more environmentally friendly, so that energy consumption is no longer a scaling limit for blockchain. To increase the throughput of the system, sharding is introduced. It is a form of database partitioning, also known as horizontal partitioning. The process involves breaking up a vast database into smaller, more manageable segments, with the idea of improving performance and reducing the query response time. Blockchain can be seen as a distributed database. If we apply sharding to the blockchain, then the blockchain network will be divided into different segments, and each segment is governed by certain nodes that have been allocated to them. By doing so, the throughput of the system can be greatly improved, since these segments can be running in parallel to process the transactions. This is the end of our presentation. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of blockchain security and scalability in different consensus protocols. Thank you.